Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my linked list tutorials. Today we'll be checking out two things, that is checking if our linked list is sorted, and another one is inserting a node in a sorted linked list. All right. Okay, so let's just get started. Okay, so when we mean to check if the linked list is sorted, basically uh, we have to iterate through our list and we have to make sure that the next data is larger than the previous data, right? That's what it basically means. So in my linked list here in the code, I have created a array which is ascending, so we have to check it for now, right? So I have created it ascending, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and created a function called isSorted. I'm going to make it an integer because we have to return a value whether yes it's sorted or no. So here in this case we are going to return either 0 or 1. Okay, so let's get started with the function. So is sorted. So as I have always said, we first need to pass our head node. All right, so now let's check. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a minimum number and then I'm going to compare that number to basically the data points in my linked list, right? So I'm just going to create a number called integer x, and then I'm going to give it a random negative value called maybe 65536. All right, so it can be anything. All right, so now I'm going to create a while loop and then I'm going to iterate through my linked list. Okay, so null, here's my condition, and now I'm going to check it with an if condition. Like I said, we have to check whether that data is greater than or smaller than my current data value. All right, so let's just go with if p dot data. So if my current node's data is smaller than x, now x is my smallest minimum number, then I'm going to return 0. All right, because if my current data value is smaller than that number, then obviously my linked list is not sorted. Okay, this will be useful for forward also. All right, so now I have to set x as p dot data. All right, so since it's smaller, since my data value is smaller than x, and I'm going to set x as the data value. So when we go through the loop again and again, each time the value of x will be getting updated, and so will be the data of p dot data. All right, so now let's just do p is equal to p dot next, so which means we are now iterating through our linked list, right? So now, while if this is true, now I am going to return 1. All right, so that's basically it when we are trying to create a function which basically checks if our linked list is sorted or not. So we created an if loop and we are checking the data uh, of our current node and the next node, and if it's greater or smaller, we decide our condition, whether we want to return or whether we want to continue our loop. All right, and in the loop we iterate over to the next node and then we set the value of x as the current node's data value. All right, so let's just call it and check it here. All right, so here I'm gonna create an if function and then I'm going to call my isSorted function inside here, and then I'm going to pass first. All right, so if isSorted is equal to 1, then I'm going to print the list is sorted. All right, so let me just break line. All right, so that is it. Okay, so here we are just trying to display it, and let's just try to run our program. All right. All right, so as you can see, the value has returned 1. That's why our if condition is now running and it has said the list is sorted. All right, so basically that's it, whether if you want to check if your linked list is sorted or not. All right, so okay, so up now to the next function, which is inserting in a sorted list. Let me just close this. All right, so let's just understand a few things here. If I want to insert in a sorted linked list, basically I don't have to pass any index, all right? So if my linked list is already sorted and I want to insert a new data value, it will just check with the sorted values and it will put the new value in its appropriate place, all right? So suppose if this value is 3 and this value is 5, and I wanted to insert a new value 4, my function will iterate up till here. It will basically check the data values, it will compare the data values with my data which I want to put, that is 4. So if my value now will compare it with 5, right? Now 5 is greater than 4, so it will not go ahead, the loop will break, and now my new data node will be inserted here, all right? So for that actually we need two pointers. One pointer which we call p in our program, that will basically be keeping track of the entire list. So like when it's on 5, so that time we will know when we compare that yes, 5 is greater than 4. So we need to create another pointer. Let me just rub this. We need to create another pointer, we'll call it q, which is just behind the p pointer, all right? So if here is p, we have q here, and with the help of the loop we will bring p in front as well, all right? So why are we doing this? Because now since we have this nodes access as well, since q is currently this b node, all right? So now we can insert our new node in here. So like we can now point this node here, and then now we can point this node to here, like we did in the last tutorial as well. All right, so that's why we need two pointers here. Also need a q pointer, which will basically keep track of the last pointer, basically of the last pointer, and then with the help of that we can basically insert our new node, all right? Okay, so let's just try to implement it now. So I'm going to create a void insert, let's just call it insert sorted, and then I want to pass my first, and then I want to pass the x, all right? So now x is my data value, right? So yeah, so now I'm going to go node p, and I'm going to create another node q, like I said, all right? And now I'm going to initially give node as q as null. All right, now I'm going to initialize my t new node. If you are having some trouble understanding this code, I have explained this detailed in my previous tutorials as well. Why we basically do this and why we need some extra pointers and temporary pointers. All right, so you can check out my old tutorials as well in this playlist itself. Yeah, so now what I'm going to do is, once I've initialized it, I'm going to put t dot data as x. Okay, so now in our t node we have our data x. Now we want to put this node between our list according to its sorted order, right? So here I'm going to create a loop, a while loop, and then I'm going to condition it p. So as long as p exists, and p dot data, like I said, we need a compare function basically to know if my current node value is greater or smaller than my new node, because depending on that we will decide whether we want to go ahead or insert our node here, because it's a sorted linked list, right? So we need to check basically if I want to input my 4 variable between 3 or 5. All right, so let's just check now. All right, so here I am going to put q as p. So why I did this? Because I want my q node to be pointer, basically just to be right behind my p node. All right, so now I'm going to do p dot next. All right, so now this q has the last node, and now p, since I did p is equal to p dot next, p has the next node, right? So this will run as long as this loop is satisfied, and as long as, okay, I forgot to give my actual condition here, should be less than x. All right, so now basically means that this loop will run as long as the value of data is less than x. So when this isn't true, we will take these old values of q and p, and then we will go like I did in the last tutorial as well. T dot next is equal to q dot next. All right, and then q dot next, it will point to t. So what we did here, basically we took that new node, inside its next variable we gave the address of q dot next, so it will now point to the next node. All right, and now q dot next will point to t. So like I said here as well, like I drew this diagram, we want this address to be stored in this t node, and then this b node will now point to here. So like when we iterate through it again, it will go properly like this. All right, so now my new t node has been inserted properly with my linked list. All right, so I guess that's basically it. So I'm going to try to run this now. Let me just close this. I am going to, for now I don't need to run this is sorted function again, so I'm going to just try to print it. New inserted sorted list, okay, whatever we want to name it is. All right, so is, I'm just gonna go here. Now here I'm going to call my insert sorted. I'm going to pass first, and then I want to pass my data variable. Let's see where we can throw it. Okay, I'm going to give it a number. All right, let's give it 15, so it can lie between 10 and then 34. All right, so I'm going to pass the number 15. All right, now again my list has been updated. Now I'm going to try to display it. Right, now I'm going to call the display function, and then here I want to pass first again. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and, so we get the output on a new line, \n. All right, now let's try to run this. Hopefully this works. Yeah, so as you can see here, this is our original linked list, and the new sorted linked list is here. So as you can see, 15 has been inserted between 10 and 34. Yeah, so that's, so that this function is complete. We have correctly executed it. Yeah, so all right, that's it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a like, share this to your friends, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, I'll be making more of these linked list tutorials. We'll check more of them, like uh, we will go with circular linked list as well, we will go with double linked list as well, etc. All right, so that's it for this tutorial.